Hi, my name is Zach, but most of you know me as Zack Binspin online. Normally I create gaming and game review videos, and today's video is going to be a little different. This topic is personal and important to me, and I've seen a lot of misinformation online about certain mental health disorders, specifically OCD, ADHD, and DPDR, and I wanted to clear up some things for a while. This video is not seeking pity or attention. It's about providing accurate information and sharing what life is like with these disorders. For me at least, because everyone's experiences are different. I've decided to split up this video into 3 segments. First, I'm going to talk about OCD, then ADHD, and then finally DPDR. Let's dive in. OCD stands for Obsessive-Compulsive Disorder. It's a mental health condition characterized by obsessions, unwanted and intrusive thoughts, and compulsions, repetitive behaviors or mental acts performed to reduce anxiety caused by the obsessions. Common symptoms include excessive hand washing, needing things to be arranged in a particular way, intrusive thoughts, and repeating checking behaviors. However, not everyone's symptoms look the same. I was officially diagnosed with OCD 2 years ago, but I've known I've had it my entire life. It's been incredibly challenging and has made my life harder than it needs to be. Living with OCD means constantly fighting a battle in your own mind. It's exhausting, frustrating, and at times feels hopeless. One of my symptoms is compulsively washing my hands. I'm basically the stereotype of OCD. I do it so much that my skin cracks, peels, and bleeds. And this isn't about hygiene. It's a compulsion driven by an anxiety that feels impossible to resist. Even though I know it's harmful, the discomfort of not washing my hands is just overwhelming. And because of all this cracking and bleeding of the skin, I've had to wear band-aids constantly on my hand. And it's quite frankly annoying. And I also experience intrusive thoughts, which are often distressing and difficult to manage. These thoughts are unwanted and can feel like they're taking over my mind. It's not something I can control, and it's one of the most frustrating parts of OCD. Unlike the stereotype, I don't obsess over cleanliness and organization. Instead, I need things to remain exactly as they are. If someone moves an object from its place, it'll bother me for weeks, sometimes longer. The need for consistency is a constant source of anxiety, such as how I have all of my little Funko Pops stacked up like this. If somebody were to move one to the other side of the room, until I put it back in its rightful spot, it would bother me until it gets fixed. Another compulsion I have is moving my head in specific shapes in the air, like circles or squares, 5 times perfectly. And if I mess up, I have to start over. It's exhausting and time-consuming, but the discomfort of not completing it feels unbearable. And what I mean by moving my head in shapes in the air is like, for example, if I was going to make a circle, I would go 5 times perfectly, and if I mess up on the circle, I have to start the 5 over. And it honestly gets super annoying to deal with throughout the day. I also grind my teeth together repeatedly, often 3 or 5 times every few minutes. This habit is not only physically uncomfortable, but also difficult to stop. It's another example of how OCD creates repetitive and draining behaviors. Open doors are another trigger for me. I have to close every single door that I see, or the discomfort lingers all day. And it's not just a preference, it's an overwhelming need that disrupts my focus and peace of mind. Such as if I'm walking in the hallway at school and I see a teacher's door is open, I feel the need to close that door no matter what. And if I leave it open, it'll be like on my cue for the rest of the day. I'll be like, okay, I'll finish my homework and then I'll go close that door later. And the open doors just in general are a huge bother to me, and this is caused by the OCD. Over the years, I've tried processing my struggles through writing short stories and poetry about OCD, and while it helps, it doesn't erase the pain. What makes it worse is seeing people online, especially on platforms like TikTok, pretending to have OCD. It's frustrating because OCD is not quirky or fun, it's a debilitating disorder. Why would anybody want to live with this? And no, OCD is not just liking cleanliness or being picky, it's the oversimplification that dismisses the reality of living with OCD. Despite how hard it is, I want to empathize that mental disorders do not define who you are. Yes, I have OCD, and yes, I have to deal with that, and I have to live with that for the rest of my life, but it is not my entire identity. I am more than my disorder, and so are you. If you're struggling, remember that you're not alone, and that there's more to you than your challenges. Next, I would like to talk about my ADHD. ADHD, or Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, is a neurodevelopmental disorder characterized by symptoms like difficulty focusing, hyperactivity, and impulsivity. Again, not everyone experiences the same symptoms. I was diagnosed with ADHD around the same time as my OCD diagnosis. While my ADHD isn't as severe as my other conditions, it still persists challenges, and a lot of other people have it a lot worse than I do when it comes to ADHD. For most of my life, I had untreated ADHD, which made school especially difficult. High school is now still a struggle despite me being on ADHD medicine because I cannot focus on tasks or complete assignments efficiently. Even now, staying on task requires immense effort. My ADHD symptoms are relatively mild compared to others, but still annoying. For instance, I often find myself losing focus during lectures or conversations. Assignments that should take 30 minutes will drag on for hours because I get distracted. There are many stereotypes about ADHD, like people with ADHD being overly hyper or incapable of paying attention, but these stereotypes do not apply to everyone. ADHD is a spectrum and everyone experiences it differently. For those who are struggling with ADHD out there, I would like to say this. ADHD is just one part of who you are. While it can be a hassle, it does not define your worth or potential. Be patient with yourself and don't let the stereotypes hold you back. Lastly, I would like to talk about DPDR. Earlier this year, I was professionally diagnosed with DPDR, or Depersonalization-Derealization Disorder. DPDR is a dissociative disorder characterized by feelings of detachment from yourself, depersonalization, and the world around you, derealization. Common symptoms include feeling like you're an observer of your own thoughts, distorted perceptions of reality, emotional numbness, and difficulty concentrating. Out of all of my disorders, DPDR is the most distressing. Almost every day at school I experience disassociations. One moment I'm fine, and the next I feel like I'm not real, like everything around me is fake, as if I'm stuck on autopilot, unable to move or think clearly. It almost feels as if you are in third person, watching yourself from the outside. I am also very involved with the theater program at my school, and having DPDR is especially difficult during theater rehearsals or performances. Disassociating on stage can be terrifying and disorienting, and has happened to me on more than one occasion. DPDR is on a larger category of dissociative disorders, including DID, dissociative identity disorder, and dissociative amnesia. Unlike DID, when I disassociate, I still retain all of my memories and feel like the same person. The sense of detachment can make even the simplest of tasks overwhelming. It's hard to explain just how unsettling it is to feel like your body and mind do not belong to you. If you're dealing with DPDR out there, know that you are not alone, and it's okay to seek help, and it's okay to feel frustrated. Like all other mental health conditions, DPDR does not define you. In conclusion, living with OCD, ADHD, and DPDR is hard, and there's no sugarcoating that. But what makes it harder is all of the misinformation and stigma surrounding these conditions. Faking disorders for attention trivializes the struggles of those who live with them every day. Mental health disorders are not quirks or trends, they're real-life challenges that deserve respect and understanding. That said, your disorders, again, do not define you. You are more than your diagnosis. Yes, life with mental health struggles is tough, but it also shaped me into the person I am. I've learned to embrace my challenges, and I am not ashamed of them. If you're struggling, I encourage you to do the same. Seek help, educate yourself and others, and never forget that you're more than your struggles. Thank you for watching and listening to my story. If you have any questions or experiences to share, feel free to leave a comment. Let's continue this conversation and work together to spread understanding and compassion. I get that this video is a lot different than my other videos, but don't worry. I have a video coming out soon that I'm sure y'all will like. I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but for the past year, I have been working on a 3-hour-long video explaining the lore of one of my favorite franchises. So look forward to that, and thank you all so much for watching.